How's guys, welcome back to the Wild Protea. Now sitting here today, I was kind of hoping that I could do this video in between lunch, seeing it was an hour long today, hoping that we'd still be batting and that piling up the runs, and hopefully looking forward to an exciting day's test cricket tomorrow. Unfortunately that didn't happen, so yeah. Just before I get into the review of this test match, don't forget to like this video, guys. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube, like my page on Facebook, the Wild Protea. And yeah, guys, just keep the support coming. Thanks to everyone who supported the page and me thus far. The page now up to 100 followers. So I know it doesn't seem much to do, compared to other pages or whatever, but for me it's steady growth, slow growth at the moment, but we're getting there slowly but surely. Anyway, on to the cricket. Yeah, so let's start with the first innings, guys. First innings, obviously there were some soft dismissals. I can think of, Deano, Faf got a pretty good ball, Aiden got a pretty good ball, but the rest of the guys, Quinton de Kock, 3's wicket away, 2 run-outs, and then our lower order doesn't seem to get runs the way it used to, with Vern sometimes chipping in, and our bowlers could generally hold the bat and stay there and help us out, but doesn't seem to be the case at the moment. And yeah, 220 was just never going to be enough. Those soft wickets can account for probably 100, 150, maybe 200 runs. I mean, if we get 350, 400 in that first innings, it's a whole different ball game. So I think guys have to look long and hard at that. I think maybe the message was, because they've taken a thrashing over New Zealand, maybe let's go out and be positive and try and put them on the back foot. And you get being positive, I get that, but in the same breath, you got to be selective. And I think if we were a bit more selective, 300, 350 was definitely on the cards, because we got to 220. Even though the lower order did help us out a little bit, I think 350 was definitely, should have been more or less where we were about, because look at Pakistan's first innings, 350, and then our bowling effort started off great. Took those 4 wickets early on, had them 27 for 4, and then it took Fawad Alam to play a fantastic innings. You can't really discredit him too much. What I would say is perhaps we got it wrong with regards to the way we try to bowl to him. I think we should have tried to restrict him maybe from playing on that leg side, maybe pack that leg side field, make it very, very difficult for him. We did try on a few occasions, but it didn't really work out. And for me, the spinners weren't as effective as I thought they would be, especially George Linder, not really turning the ball much, even out of the rough. So yeah, a few things to look at there. For me, I just think they were comfortable in their own conditions. For Fawad Alam averages 70 odd at that venue in domestic cricket, so he knew that venue quite well. And then just the failure to finish it off. I thought once we broke that one big partnership, I thought wickets are going to tumble here, and then we just seem to release the pressure each time we got a wicket. We just seem to release that pressure, and our bowlers can't always be backing us up and bailing us out. We need the batters to come to the party and score the runs first and foremost, and that is where we got let down in this test. Second innings, Deano obviously a bit unlucky, got a bit hurt. I think that maybe played a role in his dismissal. Otherwise, he was looking very, very comfortable at the crease, and that having Dean there, I think would have been huge for us. Having said that, obviously Markram and Rassi set up, played very, very well. I don't want to take anything away from them. However, they did leave about 100, 120 runs out there, just in rotating the strike, looking for the singles. And I don't know what it is about our cricket, but we don't seem to want to rotate the strike. Even domestically, You watch the Momentum One Day Cup, you see the guys get into a bit of a rut, and it's just block after block after block. And I just don't understand why. Like, are the coaches not coaching this to rotate strike, to break your wrists and look for one, open the blade and look for one? There were many times where, you know, Gurasi and Aiden were patting back half volleys. Now, I get that the pitch is slow, I get that it's turning, but if you get to the pitch of the ball and you open the blade and you play it through the cover to covers right or left, that's a single. You know, break the wrists, that's a single. It's very easy cricket to do. I just don't see the guys, like, they always play with this, like I said last week, they always play with this proper technique, straight bat, and that's all good and well here in South Africa, where the ball doesn't turn as much and the wickets are nice. But when you go to the subcontinent, you have to learn to do these things. You have to sweep. Look at Joe Root on a Bunsen burner of a pitch, turning miles. He's out there sweeping, opening his hands and cutting the ball. And I just think that our guys are either too afraid to do it or don't know how to do it. I would hope that they're too afraid, and maybe just getting that confidence, then they can do it. But at the moment, it just doesn't look like they can do it. Like, rotating the strike should be just the norm. And I really believe that if they had got another 100, they would have both been on hundreds by the end of the day. And then it's a totally different situation. We go into day 4 now with probably, more like 100 run lead, 120 run lead. Now you're in the game. Now, you know, even if you lose those 3 wickets at the end of the day, you're 100 runs in the lead. Now you're in the pound seats. Now Quinny can come out and play his natural game. We can be a bit more aggressive, maybe. Maybe they're on the back foot. Maybe they start differently. Maybe all these factors come into play when you play a little bit more positively. And I don't mean coming down the track and whacking the bowler over his head or anything like that. Just a little bit more positive. Just positive intent. Now, we did play with positive intent after the tea break. But that session between lunch and tea, we went absolutely nowhere. We scored 46 runs at less than 2 runs and over, or something like that. And just the intent was just to be there. And I think if the intent was to score runs, I think, you know, we come out that session with possibly, 30 overs. So if you go 3 and over, that's 90. Maybe a boundary here or there, you get 100 runs off that session. I think that really changes the game and puts it in our favour. Because then going into the last session, they're on the back foot. That's why, you know, Pakistan didn't panic. They knew they're not going anywhere. So as soon as we get 1 wicket here, bang, 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 and it could be all over very soon. And that is actually the way it played out. Our middle order, our top and middle order need to come to the party. It's been going on for a number of years now that our top order doesn't get the runs. And we've been backed up by our bowlers. You know, we've had the likes of Vernon Flander, Kagisa Rabada, and guys chipping in and taking, you know, removing top orders and helping us out in that way. But our top order has faltered for a long time now. The only time we've scored runs is against Sri Lanka's seaside, which is, I mean, when you see what England just did to them in their home conditions, it puts it in perspective, guys. So yeah, for me, yeah, just not good enough there. And then Bavuma running out of partners. I saw a lot of people on Twitter criticizing him for the shot he played. Well, what would you like him to do? I know you maybe farming the strike and all that jazz, but what's he supposed to do in that situation? It's a very tough situation. You know, I've been in that situation myself, batting with a tail. Not comparing it to Temba, but it's extremely difficult. You don't sometimes you want to give the other guy confidence. You don't just want to farm the strike all the time. So, but I mean that partnership, even if he had batted for another hour with Lungi and Giri, that partnership was never going to win us the game. Even if we got to 150, they have 2 days to get the score, guys. I mean, so yeah, tough one. So looking forward to Rawalpindi. That game starts on the 4th of February. Now I think Rawalpindi is a little bit more suited to the seamers, I believe. Although, you know, I think Pakistan will want another pitch that's probably similar to this one, the way that this one played. Obviously the toss will be important. Obviously first innings runs will be important. But let's just look at a few things to consider for the next test. Is Deano okay? Dean Algo went for scans. I haven't seen anything yet on if he's injured or not. Hopefully Deano is okay. He's vital for us at the top of the order, obviously. Options to replace him, well, there's a few. You can have Quinny open the batting, although I wouldn't go that direction. Cyril Ewe is obviously in the side as an opening batsman. He's scored runs domestically. That would be my pick. I'd go with him. It's just a like-for-like swap at the end of the day. And then Quinton de Kock, do we need to rethink his position going forward, not into the next test match, but also looking at the Aussies coming and his test future? I think his test future should be at 7. Keep the gloves, lose the captaincy, drop down to 7, score your runs there. And then, when Quinny plays, excuse my French, a cuck shot when he's playing with the tail, then that is what it is. And other days he'll come off. But I think Quinny just needs to go back to 7. He just needs to stay there and just play that role for us. And perhaps, maybe it's time that we look at new players for our test squad. I think there's a few players there that maybe on borrowed time. Faf, besides the 200 against Sri Lanka, hasn't really done well in test matches. These guys like Keegan Peterson, Calvin Rain, Reinhard van Tonde waiting in the wings, and we can't keep these guys waiting all the time. I think maybe it's time that we try a new, fresh approach. And you know what, the guys that I mentioned there, KP and Varane, very adept at working ones, and I've seen it I've seen them back in the domestic stuff. They work the ones, work the angles, and score big runs domestically. So it's perhaps time for a change. I think another thing that has to be questioned is decision making by the management team to move Quinny up, to make him captain. I think it's all too much. Like I've seen very often on the field, just before a decision is made, Quinny goes to Faf, he goes to Rassie, he goes to Aiden, he goes to whoever, Dean, whoever, before making a decision. It's almost like he's second guessing himself. He doesn't look happy. It's affecting his keeping. It's definitely affecting his batting. And I just think that it's just too much for the lad to handle at the moment. T20 cricket is fine. One day cricket, I'm still not so sure about Quinny. But I'd have him a captain of the one day side, no problem. I mean the T20 side, no problem. But I think we have to look at that captaincy situation going forward. Give it to someone who's going to be there long term. In my opinion, Dean Alger, he's doing well at the moment. I know he's 33, but he's still going to play for a good 2, 3, maybe 4 years even, if he continues to play well, and there's no suggestion that he won't. So for me, Dean Alger is the only guy putting his hand up at the moment to be captain. He's got the experience. He's one of our better players. He's probably the best opener in the world at the moment. Give him the captaincy. I think it'll elevate his game to a new level. And I think you'll see the best of Dean Alger from age 30 to 37 will be probably his best years as a test cricketer, my opinion. And that's what I would like going forward. And then for the next test, probably for me, Shamsi in for Linde. Linde didn't offer us much. He's supposed to be an all-rounder, bowling all-rounder. But he didn't offer much with the ball, didn't offer much with the bat either. For me, it's a straight swap, Linde for Shamsi. And then it's interesting. So do you bring in, or you could bring in Mulder, obviously, for Linde if the wicket looks like it's going to suit Seamers more, or you could go the route with Mulder coming in for Ngidi. I'm not so sure about that. But I've said I've worried about Mulder's pace, but he bowls wicket to wicket, and on a subcontinent pitch, that's all you need. He can hold up an end. Keshev bowled really well in this game. Not really well, but he bowled the best of our spinners. And I think he did a decent job. And then, obviously the top order need to weigh in with runs. And this is something that we've been saying in South African cricket for a long, long time. And, you can blame the conditions and stuff like that, but the conditions weren't that bad. I think the first innings, You know, you can say on another day, you know, Quinny hits that over the top and he keeps going and we get a bigger lead, or you can say on another day the run-outs and you know, those are all positives to take out of that situation. But at the end of the day, the question will be is, why didn't we get those runs? It's because of the soft wickets. It's because of the run-outs. And, you know, we can't have that at that level. I know it's tough. We are in a rebuilding phase at the moment. And I can't stress enough that, you know, as fans, we have to be patient. And it's going to be difficult at times, but you know, sometimes a change is as good as a holiday. So I don't know what Boucher's thinking is. I don't know what the team's thinking is. But for me, perhaps, you know, I know there's been a lot of changes in the Test lineup recently, but I still don't think we're quite getting the combinations right. I think the balance of the side didn't look right from the start for me. A lot of guys calling for Mulder. I don't think Mulder would have made much of a difference in this Test. You know, generally at the subcontinent, a guy batting a lower down who's not used to subcontinent conditions doesn't really help you anyway. So because he would have batted sort of where Linda batted anyway. So I don't know how much of a difference that would have made. Could it have made a difference today? Him and Temba maybe fighting it out there and batting for a long period, or in the first innings, could it have made a difference? I don't know. Would Temba have tried for that second run if he was batting with Mulder? Probably not. All these things you have to consider. So for me, I don't know whether it's time for new blood, but we have guys waiting to take spots, and I think that it could be time that we have a look at these guys. You know, Keegan Peterson's been patiently waiting since, well, he's been in the Test side for probably the last year and a half, 2 years now. So he's been patiently waiting for his opportunity. I think he's a gun player. I think Carl Verheijen's a gun player. Reina Fanton is, you know, what he's doing domestically. So perhaps it is time for a change. You know, Faf's not going to last forever. Rassie at 3, I'm sorry, but you got to get hundreds. You got to get hundreds and big hundreds. You look at the guys who bat 3 and 4 in different parts of the world. The Kane Williamsons, the Virat Kohlis, the Ajinkya Rahanes. These guys, they get in and they don't get out, and they score big runs. We get in and don't get onto those big hundreds. And I can't for the life of me understand why. Like last night especially, you know, Rassie and Aiden in the last session, it just looks like they got nervous towards the end of the day, and just both of them got out in the same way, just prodding one straight to silly point or silly mid off or whatever you want to call that position. And I don't know, just the confidence of being in the whole day should have still been there. So I just think maybe they just went into a little bit of defensive mindset at the end, just see it through, and I think that's maybe what cost them at the end. And then, you know, once we lose 3 quickly there, the game was always set up for Pakistan for a win there. Yeah, but you know what, guys, my prediction obviously is not going to come true of us getting 1-0 series victory, but we can still draw the series 1-1. My thinking is that there will be a couple of changes in the lineup. I think Shamsi will come in. I think Mulder might come in as well. I'm not sure who's going to miss out. We'll have to wait and see on the fitness of Dean Algar as well. But hopefully we can pull that one out the bag, leave that series 1-1, come back with a little bit of confidence for the Aussies. You know, having a look at the Aussies, I think their batting lineup is a little bit frail, with the exception obviously of Marnus Labuschagne, not Labuschagne as they like to say, and Steve Smith. But I think if you get those two early, they can be got at and they can be had. Obviously you saw India go over there and beat them, so that's going to be an interesting series. But I'm looking forward to next week, looking forward to Rawalpindi. I think it's going to be a fantastic test match. I think obviously Pakistan have the lead now. They're going to be confident. They're going to be on top of us from ball 1. We just need to bounce back now. And something that one of the guys said on Twitter as well, I'm sick and tired of us being praised for our fighting spirit. I want to be praised for winning test matches. And I think you hit the nail on the head there. We always praised for our, you know, fighting spirit and never giving up and this and that. And I'm like, yeah, cool, that's all good and well, but let's be praised for winning test matches. I want to be that country that wins test matches again. And the only way we're going to get there is through consistency in selection and consistency in the game plans. I think there's a miscommunication somewhere with the game plans. I'm not too sure what the game plan is at the moment. You just get the feeling that guys are playing on a whim rather than having an actual game plan. But yeah, guys, let me know in the comments what you guys thought of this match, what changes you would make, where would you bat Quinny, and who would come in to open the innings for you. Would it be Sarel Evia? Would you move Quinny up or bring in someone else in the middle order? All things to consider, guys. So yeah, that is all I have for you today, guys. Other than that, enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the One Day Cup that's currently on. Cobras against the Lions. Cobras not doing so well lately. Hopefully they can pull a win out here and then beat the Warriors and make it into the semi-finals. Other than that, guys, have a fantastic weekend. I will see you again next week, hopefully with more positive news and then negative news with regards to our cricket. But that it is what it is for now, and I think we just need to be patient as fans and realize that it's not going to change overnight. And but one thing we can change is the team. So yeah, have a good one, and I'll see you next week. Cheers for now.